Hello, and welcome to a new episode. The summer of 1982, in King County, Washington, two boys were riding their bikes near the Green River when they spotted something floating beneath a bridge. What they found wasn't just a tragedy. It was the beginning of a nightmare that would haunt America for decades. It was the body of Wendy Lee Cofield, a girl of only 16. But get this, Wendy wasn't the only victim. Soon after, another body was found, then another and another. The Green River was becoming a graveyard, and police realized they weren't hunting an ordinary criminal. They were hunting a serial killer, a ghost who was snatching young women and leaving them in the cold, dark water. But the most terrifying part of this entire story, this monster wasn't some mysterious stranger living in the shadows. He was the man next door, your quiet coworker, the husband and father you'd see fixing his truck in his own front yard. Because this man, with his unremarkable face, was hiding a secret so terrifying it's almost impossible to comprehend. He didn't just kill. He killed so many women that he began using their dump sites as his own personal landmarks to navigate the city. This is the story of Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, the man who perfected the art of hiding in plain sight while turning the Pacific Northwest into his own personal cemetery. Our story doesn't begin with a monster, but with a boy named Gary Ridgway, born in 1949. His family settled in the suburbs of Seattle, a stone's throw from the SeaTac airport. On the outside, their life was a picture of American normalcy. The father, a bus driver, the mother, a department store clerk. But behind closed doors, something was wrong, terribly wrong. Gary's mother, Mary, was reportedly a domineering, humiliating, and abusive woman. His father was rarely around. This toxic mix of humiliation and control twisted something deep inside of Gary. He developed a terrifying obsession with his mother, a violent conflict between sexual fantasies and a burning desire to kill her. He imagined stabbing her in the chest, slicing her face, just to see what it would feel like. These weren't just thoughts. He began to practice. At 15, he stabbed another boy, not to kill, but to understand the mechanics of stabbing. He choked a cat. He shot puppies. The warning signs weren't just red flags. They were giant billboards covered in blood. And yet, somehow, the world kept turning. Gary graduated high school, joined the Navy, and got married. And during his time in Vietnam, he became obsessed with prostitutes. They were easy targets, women often overlooked by society. They would, in the future, become his primary victims. He would marry 3 times, even have a son, Matthew. To the outside world, he was just Gary, a truck painter at the Kenworth factory, a man with a steady job and a family, utterly insignificant. But in the summer of 1982, that insignificant man began his life's work. That summer, a terrifying pattern began to emerge. The bodies of young women started appearing in and around the Green River. After Wendy came Deborah Lynn Bonner, 23, then Marcia Faye Chapman, 31, then Opal Charmaine Mills, just 16 years old, all found in the same river in the same area. The police knew they had a serial killer on their hands, but they had no idea of the scale of the disaster. This was only the beginning. The killer was hunting his victims from a specific street, the Pacific Highway South, a notorious strip near the SeaTac airport. And he was dumping the bodies in clusters, as if organizing his gruesome collection. Soon, new dump sites were found. One cluster near the Tai Golf Course, another near a residential area called Star Lake. It went on and on and on. He was a killing machine. The investigation, dubbed the Green River Task Force, became one of the longest and most expensive in American history. But Ridgway was a ghost. He was meticulous. He would have sex with his victims after they were dead, a final act of control, and then wash the bodies to remove evidence before dumping them. The most chilling part? He was almost caught. On April 30th, 1983, a victim named Marie Mulvar was seen getting into Ridgway's truck. Her boyfriend, sensing something was wrong, tried to follow but lost them. A few days later, he saw the exact same truck parked outside a house, Gary Ridgway's house. He immediately called the police. Ridgway was questioned. He denied everything. The police, lacking physical evidence, had to let him go. Ridgway later confessed that he spent the entire interview leaning against a fence to hide the deep scratches Marie had left on his arm as she fought for her life. After the police left, he burned the scratches with battery acid to destroy the evidence. He was a suspect, but he was free. For nearly 2 decades, he continued to kill. He even admitted to murdering one woman with his own son sleeping in the truck beside him. His reign of terror only ended thanks to a scientific miracle. In 2001, investigators, now armed with new DNA technology, re-examined the saliva samples they had collected from Ridgway back in 1987. They were able to build a DNA profile from microscopic bits of evidence left on 3 of the earliest victims. The result was a perfect match. On November 30th, 2001, nearly 20 years after the first body was found, the Green River killer was finally under arrest. Facing the death penalty and being the coward he was, Ridgway made a deal. He would be spared execution in exchange for one thing: a full confession. He would lead investigators to the bodies of the women he'd killed, the ones they had never found. He pleaded guilty to 48 counts of murder, though he's suspected of killing more than 71 and possibly over 90 women. He received 48 consecutive life sentences. During his sentencing, the families of his victims were finally able to confront him. He sat there, stone-faced, a pathetic shell of a man, as they spoke of their pain and their loss. Perhaps the most shocking part of the story isn't just the sheer number of murders, but how for decades, no one in his life suspected a thing. His third wife, Judith, described their marriage as happy and maintained his innocence for a long time. His son, Matthew, remembered him as a quiet man who never yelled, who taught him baseball, and who was always there for him. This family man mask was his most effective weapon. He used it to lure women into his truck, showing them pictures of his son to put them at ease. He was a predator, hiding in the most mundane camouflage imaginable. To this day, his victims are still being identified. In 2023, another set of remains, once known only as Bones 17, was finally given a name: Lori Ann Raspotnik. The story of Gary Ridgway is a terrifying reminder that the most horrifying monsters are often the ones who look just like us. They live next door, they say hello in the morning, and they carry the darkest of secrets hidden in plain sight. That's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.